Hello, my name is Victor Hernandez, and today I'm going to be presenting my firms and industry analysis over Applied Materials Incorporated. And hopefully, after seeing this presentation, I can hopefully give y'all an idea as to why I recommend investing in this company because overall, I believe this firm was very interesting and there's a lot of amazing components to it. So yeah, let's get started. All right, so first so before actually getting in the the nitty gritty of the company, I wanted to include this slide just so you could get a little bit of background about the company. So it was founded in 1967, and Applied Materials Incorporated is recognized as one of the leaders in materials engineering solutions towards the semiconductor industry. And if y'all don't know, semiconductors are a very vital component in our day-to-day lives, so they're pretty much in every electronic that we use nowadays. It goes from everything to your phone or to the computer that I'm using to make this presentation. Alright. So to start off, I want to start talking about the corporate strategy. AMT operates in a relatively diverse corporate structure. The company provides different what I like to call sectors or segments within it. There's different sectors within it, I guess you can say. Um, it comes down to three: semiconductor systems, applied global services, and display. The semiconductor system is pretty much their key business, and that really revolves around designing and developing a range of equipment that are used to manufacture chips. Applied Global Services provides services and spare parts to customer fabrication plants around the world. And displays is pretty self-explanatory. That department is really pretty much just focused on manufacturing LCDs, OLEDs, and other displays for multiple products. So like I mentioned earlier, like this company is very interesting and what they do really does affect our day-to-day lives because like everything has a display nowadays. All right, next slide. And continuing on with diversification, I do want to mention the scale of this company. Um, Applied Materials really does have a huge presence globally. Operations span across pretty much the world. Eh, they have operations in Taiwan, Japan, Germany, and there's many other countries that they have operations in. But those are just a couple that I want to just name off. All right. Okay. So AMT is a highly vertically integrated company. Is highly vertical. Um, they participate in excuse me, it's been a long day. I'm gonna have to drink some water. But they participate in a variety of upstream activities, and it really this is like a main part of their business. Like I mentioned, they do manufacture most of the components themselves, and with those components, like I did mention, they are very vital to multiple industries. So it gives them somewhat of an advantage because those components that they produce themselves, they sell off to customers or even competitors. And strategic alliances is very important in any business, what I believe. Um, AMT does have multiple alliances with different institutions, companies, and firms. A couple that I would like to mention is a Disto Tech, an Indian institution of technology, Bombay. And with these alliances, I believe it's important because it opens up the door for multiple opportunities and advancements in technology. And not only that, but it just gives the company a better opportunity to scale out, and just get their name out there a little bit more to the global economy. All right, next slide. Okay, so continuing on, I want to bring it back down to the semiconductor industry, or a little bit more. Well, not the industry exactly, but I want to focus a little bit more on their main business. Like I did mention, it is going to be the semiconductor systems department, and This department is very like important for the company due to the fact that it generates around 70% of its revenue, and like how I have in the slides, semiconductors are in pretty much everything that we use on our day-to-day lives. They're very vital, and what makes AMT stands out compared to other competitors is the performance of their chips, or how hard it is for them other competitors to imitate what AMT can do. All right, next slide. Okay, so continuing a little bit more deeper, now we can get a little bit more deeper with the semiconductor industry. Let's talk about a couple of its customers. Like I said, semiconductors are on pretty much everything that we use nowadays. Everything from your phone, computer, pretty much everything with a screen or something that's electronic has semiconductors in it. And AMT does have multiple customers. Some of them are in different industries, which I list off a couple, like computer hardware industry, aerospace and defense industry, and consumer electronics. But there's multiple industries where this company plays a role in, and it really just shows you how important these chips are, and for them to be able to produce the quality of chip that like a lot of companies are wanting what they produce is incredible. It really is. Right. However, they are not the only company, of course, when it comes to production of semiconductors. A couple of its competitors do include Tokyo Electron, Lam Research, and KLA Corporation. And I do want to mention, yes, there is other companies out there, but I believe AMT does strive and has been striving a little bit more when it comes to performance and innovation. They have been able to complete and grow at such a rate that these companies really can't compete with. So, yeah, like I did, like as you can tell, the semiconductor industry is very competitive, but being a key leader of it does take a lot of work, and AMT is willing to put in that work. Okay, so continuing on with the semiconductor industry and continuing on from that, let's get into Porter's five forces. So to start off, the threat of new entrants, it is extremely difficult for new companies to get in this type of industry due to multiple reasons. A couple that I did want to list within the presentation would be that it takes a lot of capital for industry to be a part of this. Along with that, it takes years of development to even be capable to match with competitors that are within the same industry. Bargaining power of suppliers, we do consider it to be moderate to high. The materials are very specialized. It's hard to find same quality materials that can be used within the components that can produce the same quality that is being produced right now. And due to that fact, it also makes it difficult for substitutions. So that is why we believe it to be moderate to high. The bargaining power of buyers, we do believe it to be somewhat moderate. Uh, like I mentioned again, semiconductors are very vital, and for a lot of companies, they do require them just for them to produce their own products. So they do need to get their own chips. So, but the issue with that is the reason why we said we believe it to be moderate is due to the fact there is other competitors out there, and there is definitely other options for companies and customers to choose from. Alright. Threat of substitutes, we believe it to be very low. Like I said, not all chips are alike. Not all chips will provide the same quality and same performance that one does to another. Uh, we believe it to be low for that reason itself, but we have seen that there has been older tech that can still be used but like I mentioned, it will not meet up to the quality and it won't adapt to the constant changes that have been happening around us. Rivalry among competitors, we do believe it to be very high. There is only a couple of leaders within this industry, and it constantly there is constant competition when it comes to innovation and production, and just competition with being able to, balance costs with producing those type of products. Okay, so for the general environment, we believe there is a lot that does come into play. I did want to mention two that really stood out to me. So one of the main ones that I believe is something that should be important, especially in this industry for for competitors and participants to focus on, is the advancements in artificial intelligence. Uh, this trend has just slowly continued to go up, and with that being said, with the further development of AI, it does come with more requirements for advanced energy efficient products and advanced components overall. And another thing I did want to mention is would be the trade policies. Trade policies affects every industry in pretty much in our market currently. It has affected the supply chain when it comes to the semiconductor industry, and due to trade policies, it has increased costs. It has affected imports and exports of industries. So that is a major factor when it comes to taking a look at what can affect the AMT or any other company within this industry. All right. All right, so let's continue. VRIN criteria. We believe Applied Materials does hold a competitive advantage due to the amount of time, due to the amount of performance, and yeah, due to the amount of performance that the chips can actually put out to consumers. It's very difficult to be imitated. It takes years of decades. It takes years, decades. It takes a long time to develop something like this, and AMT has put in the time and effort to be able to do something like that. And another thing we want to mention is the multiple partnerships that AMT does hold. With these partnerships, it did open up a lot of opportunities. And when it comes to research and furthering developing this semiconductor chips, so that's definitely beneficial. And you really don't see eh, partnerships that work this well in most other industries or most other companies. However, it is possible for a company to kind of imitate what AMT has with their partners. That being said, let's move on to new strategies. For AMT, what we believe that AMT should strive to do or should focus on when it comes to new strategies and being implemented into their corporate or the business strategy, it does kind of go back to the VRIN criteria. One is just continue to focus on artificial intelligence, like I said, because AI is a trend that opens up a lot of opportunities, but a lot of risk for companies, especially within this field, and deepen their customer partnerships. I didn't mention this on the last slide, but that is one of the core competencies that should be focused on just because it is at risk at lowering their competitive advantage the over pretty much any other company within the industry. So I believe deepening in it a little bit more will be beneficial and keep them afloat for the long term. But overall, what I would like to do end it off with, when it comes to investing in this company, I believe it would be a smart decision. As we have seen, there is multiple innovations, and AMT just continuing to innovate continues to play a huge role within the, especially electronics industry. They are a huge company, and they have multiple collaborations that can further push that agenda of being a leader within the semiconductor industry. So I believe it would be a great opportunity for investors to just continue to support the company and just continue to invest. And most definitely down the line, I believe AMT will just continue to grow. All right. But that's pretty much my presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed and y'all have a great rest of your day. And yeah.